Jagrada. Jai Masters. People in general have trouble with life. Not always. Sometimes it aligns with their desires and avoids their fears, and they're doing better than other times. But in general, if you look around, it's an understatement to say that people have trouble with life. And when they have trouble with life inside, they cause big trouble outside. One person can create a complete mess for everybody else. It's happened numerous times in our history. Why? Because people are not okay inside. If you're not okay inside, it's not comfortable. It's not fun. It's tumultuous. It's disturbing. So what do? What most people do is try to find a way to rearrange the world around them so that they feel better inside. It's pretty logical. If you're hungry, you try to get food. If you're lonely, you try to have companionship. It's at every level. Without judging, you just realize if you're not okay inside, the tendency, and it's a very strong tendency, is to do something outside that will make it more comfortable inside. Anybody not guilty? Okay? That is what happens. That is what is. Is there anything wrong with that? There's nothing right or wrong. What it comes down to is what works. What ends up working. For one thing, as I've said, people say there's evil. I only know what I know. I've seen really terrible things. I've seen people do terrible things. I've read about terrible things. To me, evil is inside. When you're messed up inside, you try to do something to make you feel better. Some people feel better by hurting other people. I used to do prison work. A lot of you know that. For 30 years, I went into maximum security prison and taught. And I remember this one man, and he would meditate. He would do all kinds of things. But sometimes he wouldn't come. He wouldn't come to my class. But he loved my class. And he loved the teachings and so on. And anytime he would come to class, I'd ask him, what happened? He said, I was in lockup. See, when you're in maximum security prison, you can still go to lockup. And then you can go to solitary. There's all kinds of levels. So it's not enough to just be in prison. He said, I was in lockup. And I said, why were you in lockup? And he'd look at me, straightforward, with some respect, and he said, for fighting. And he wasn't big. He wasn't a big guy. And I said, for fighting. He said, yes, the only way I feel good is if I'm fighting. I said, well, don't you get hurt? He said, oh, I'm small. I get beat up a lot. But it doesn't matter. That's the only place in here that I can feel good is if I'm fighting. And I looked at him, and he was being sincere. He was being honest, right? And I realized, why? Because you have this energy built up inside, and it's a way to let it out. How's that? Don't judge it. Just realize it is a way to let it out. You guys can run. You can meditate. All he could do was fight. That let it out. That was his background, and this permitted that to happen. So that's true of everybody. That's why we should learn not to judge. Judge not, ye shall not be judged. It doesn't mean we don't have to put them in jail. Get that straight. Just because you don't judge, just because you understand and have compassion, does not mean that some people don't belong locked up. It's just, that's got nothing to do with it. It's a question of, why do people do what they do? And I've been doing this for 50-odd years, and I know why people do what they do. I know why Hitler did what he did. He's not healthy, obviously. You don't do that sort of thing when you're healthy. You're not doing well. And when he, for whatever reason, and you can analyze if you want, I don't want to analyze it, when he looked out and saw a Jew, or saw a black person, or saw a Catholic, or whatever it is, it wasn't just the Jews, gypsies and so on, he had a lot of prejudice. When he looked out there, he hurt. It disturbed him to the level that he did what he did. Wow, that's pretty disturbing. It doesn't make it right. Just because you can explain a reason why somebody does something doesn't mean it's reasonable, doesn't mean it's proper, doesn't mean it's socially acceptable or anything like that. But you have to reach a point where you understand what makes us tick. And what makes us tick is we're not okay inside. The vast majority of things we do, we're not okay inside. Why do we drink? People drink. They drink a lot or they drink a little. Well, why? Because I'm not okay. People say it takes the edge off. I'm not judging. Don't they say that? That's what that. Oh, it's just a nightcap. Take the edge off. Why would you need such a thing? Because I'm not doing well. If you're doing well, let's get that straight. You're filled with love. You're with the person you love more than anything in the whole world. You're just feeling this tremendous flow of joy and ecstasy pouring through you. Let's get drunk. Or do acid. I don't care. I ain't judging anything, right? Or get stoned. It doesn't matter. The point is, if you're doing well, you don't need to do anything. Why? Because you're doing well. Why do people need to do things? Because they're not doing well. There's this whole thing about passion. Find your passion. Can we be quiet for a moment? It's wonderful to find your passion. Passion is a wonderful thing. Well, it's filled with Shakti. It's filled with energy. It means you're enthused. You're excited. Okay? My question is, why don't you feel passion all the time? You know, I got this problem. My mind just won't stop bothering me about the fact that I'm sitting on this tiny little planet, spinning in the middle of nowheres. And it's a rather nice planet. And don't give me stuff about the ruining it. It's a nice planet. It's a phenomenal planet. No other planet's even close. We've been all over the place and we never saw anything. And on your planet, there's animals and there's plants and it is, to me, I have reached the point that this is the Garden of Eden. Compared universally, and we've got these amazing telescopes out there that look everything, don't they? Right? They've never seen anything but burning stars and quasars, and we've visited the planets. There's literally nothing. Not even an amoeba. What's it like here? It's the Garden of Eden. There's gardens all over the place. You can go to the most beautiful botanical gardens and see orchids of phenomena. Where do you think they came from? You didn't make them. They're growing wild in the rainforest and everywhere. It is the Garden of Eden. It is a phenomenal place, this planet, okay? And why don't you have passion? Why don't you just, what is it? What was the Beatles song? Because the sky is blue, it turns me on. Why doesn't it turn you on? Why is that not enough passion for you? Why, if you hear a bird sing, there are birds on the planet that sing to you. Have you noticed? There's not even an amoeba, a protozoa, nothing anywhere else. And you got these birds all morning, and I don't understand. Why are you not in a permanent state of passion, a permanent state of awe, a permanent state of OMG? This is amazing. Look, there's grass. I told you, you live on a planet that if you take a seed, a tiny little seed, and you just drop it on the ground by accident. I wanted to make a bead necklace out of it, and I dropped it on the ground. It was a corn kernel, or it was an acorn, or it was just a seed, right? And I came back, and there was corn stalks. How did that happen? You literally live on a planet as magic like that this little seed drops on the ground and nobody touches it, and the next thing you know, there's a cornfield. Next thing you know, there's an oak tree. How does that happen? You don't think about it, do you? How do you not have passion about that? How does it not blow your mind that is what goes on in front of you? Okay, so it's not, you don't seek your passion. You seek why you don't have passion. Rumi says that. That's a beautiful quote from Rumi. It is not for you to seek love. It is for you to seek, find, and remove the obstacles you put in their place. That's what I'm saying about everything. It's not for you to seek passion. I don't mind, seek passion, fine. But understand that's because you're not feeling it. You don't seek it when you're feeling it. Go seek love. Go on, have fun. The question is, why don't you feel it all the time? Everything is awesome all around. It's just the most amazing thing in the whole universe. So basically, you come down to understand people are not doing so well inside. And because they're not doing well, they miss the good stuff, and they're only busy about what needs to happen for me to be better. And that's like positive. If you're a negative person, you gave up. You're depressed. Nothing will make it better. It's all messed up. Why should I even try? There, that's it. So what we call a positive person is someone who says, I'm going to go out there and get what I need. I'm going to find out what will make me happy. That's not spiritual. The spiritual is, why am I not happy? Why do I need anything? Why am I having to go outside and manipulate people, places, and things to like me, to applaud when I do things, to give me an A+ so I feel good? Why do these things need to happen? Because I'm not okay inside. If I'm feeling wonderful inside, look, I got a D. At least it wasn't an F. You just have fun. It's like a video game. It's just this amazing place that you get to have experiences. It's nice to have experiences. Would you rather go to Mars and have no experiences? That's what's happening everywhere else in the universe that we've ever seen. It's just empty, blank, nothing. And you're here having all these amazing experiences. There's colors and sounds. Why is that not just blowing you away to where every minute of every second of your life is the most exciting thing that ever happened? You can't wait. You wake up in the morning. That's what Christ meant when he said, lest ye be as little children. The kid wakes up, oh boy, why is there not this constant enthusiasm? Because we have a problem inside, but we don't work on it inside. We say, you need to fix me. Treat me the way I need to be treated, I'll be okay. Tell me you love me all the time, but really mean it. I can feel the difference. Give me a raise. Give me a raise. Tell me I did better than the guy next to me. Have people look at me with awe. I want to walk in a room and have everybody just kind of put their head down. Like, wow, what's wrong with us? The lot of us. Don't just take one person's little problem. Look at the reality of the human predicament. The reality of the human predicament is I'm not doing okay inside. And there are things that you need to do to make me do better. Get with the program. And that's what you're out there doing. Whether it's to buy a new car, whether it's to get a nicer house, whether it's this, whether it's that. What is going on? I laid the groundwork for a serious spiritual talk. What's wrong with us? What's wrong that we're not okay? What's wrong that we need to constantly go out there and get things and do things and manipulate things? So you come down to a point where you're not doing that anymore. You say, at least stop for a moment. And instead of asking, what do I need in order to be okay, ask, why am I not okay? Isn't that reasonable? There's a reason you're not okay. You weren't made that way. That's not your true nature. It's not your spiritual state. You're totally okay all the time, every second. You're beyond okay. You're in a state of nirvana, Buddha called it. You're in a state of absolute, okay, I'm looking in the eyes. You are in a state of absolute total well-being all the time, and nothing can take it away from you. Nothing. Nothing can happen in this world that takes away from you what's going on inside of you. That starts a spiritual discussion. Not, how do I have abundance? How do I get what I want? I'm doing everything right. How come I can't attract to myself what I want? Because that has nothing to do with what's going on. If every one of you, let's get logical. If every one of you were able to attract to yourself what you wanted all the time, there'd be nothing but war. Because you don't want what she wants. And you don't want tomorrow what you wanted today. You already found it didn't work. It's not about that. It's not about getting what you want. It's not about attracting to yourself what you want. It's not about figuring out what you want. It's about figuring out, why do you want? Why are you not whole? Why do you not feel complete? Why do you not feel love all the time, every second? Every single thing you see it, why is it not blowing you away that it exists, that it even exists? You drive by a cornfield. We've land out here, and we rent it out to farmers. And I've seen it when it's just bare, it's just dirt. And then I figure, how does a farmer know how to turn dirt into a cornfield? He doesn't. He has no idea. All right, farmer, turn it into a cornfield. No, he spews some seeds out, and it does it by itself. It's magically, you have to be willing to think about this. It magically takes dirt. If I stand there in front of a big, beautiful cornfield, that's matter. Those are atoms. Where did they come from? They weren't here before, 4 months ago, whatever it is. How did these atoms get here? Something, and you can tell me what it is because you're all scientists, something took dirt, the dirt that was laying on the ground, sunlight, and water. That's all. Dirt, sunlight, and water. Broke it down chemically, rearranged the molecules of the dirt, and turned it into corn. So when someone tells you next time, oh, go eat dirt, you say, I do. I eat dirt. It's just dirt that DNA rearranged. It's pretty amazing, isn't it? This is what you drive by every day and ignore completely. And that's a cornfield. How about a forest? Oh my God. How is this not enough? How is this not blowing you away? How is this not enough to keep you excited and enthused and in a state of awe and feeling love? That DNA molecule, that's something else. It literally knows how to do what we just said. It's intelligent. It's a chemist. It rearranges everything. All right. Why, instead of living like that, are we living like we are? Where we have to run around and get things and do things and manipulate things and get happy if we get what we want and get sad if we get what we don't want. What is this all about? What's going on? That is spirituality. Spirituality is asking the deep questions. What in the world is going on? And the nice thing about it, there are answers. There are easy answers. And you don't have to be Einstein or some genius or Freud to figure this thing out. Why? Because you live in there. You know darn well what's going on. You just pay attention. Be real. Pay attention. Notice that if you go and talk to somebody, yesterday, today, you talk to somebody, and they say something that makes you feel weird. Does that ever happen? No, they're talking to you, all of a sudden you feel weird inside. There's a clue. You can be a scientist. Why did these vibrations of sound that came in through my ears make me feel weird inside? It happens every day, doesn't it? And weird, by the way, doesn't necessarily mean negative. It could make you feel positive. I want to know why sounds from the outside, or colors from the outside, or movement from the outside, or a person from the outside that has nothing to do with you. You're in here, they're out there. How come it makes it get weird inside? How come it changes all this stuff inside? Have you ever thought about that? That's what you need to think about. Not how do I get it to not happen? How do I get it so it's the way I want? How do I surround myself with things that make me feel good instead of things that make me feel bad? And instead you ask, why does that happen? Because it doesn't happen to great beings. Christ made it very clear it didn't happen to him. Forgive them, they know not what they do. Pretty clear stuff. Look at it all. Buddha was the same way. Dalai Lama is that way. The great ones, they weren't like that. They worked on themselves inside so that that didn't happen. I told you this, the saint who gave us the Durga statue back in the 70s. Picture's down over there. She passed some years ago. She once turned to me. She's a very high being. She once turned to me. She said, Mickey. I said, what, mother? She says, don't you just love when they yell at you? There's so much energy. Is that what happens when they yell at you? No, I don't think so. It gets weird inside. Why? Why? You want to study psychology? Don't study the psychology that humans do, which is why do I get depressed and why am I sad and why can't I find somebody who loves me as much as I love them? That's what our psychology is. In other words, because we're not okay inside, our psychologists deal with that we're not okay inside, right? Remember what Ramana said? You can only get as high as your psychiatrist. Okay? So let's get ourselves a very high psychiatrist. And what they basically say, what are you giving me this petty stuff? Well, he yelled at me, or he talked to me, or he didn't come home at the right time. And, okay, fine. Why does that bother you? Not, I understand. Of course that bothered you. No, why does it bother you? That's the real question. Why are you not okay inside? Why are you dependent upon all these things happening outside to be okay inside? So one clue, like I said, is that somebody says something to you and it makes you weird inside. Okay, I would beg you, instead of trying to shut them up or hit them like my friend in prison did, instead of doing that kind of stuff, don't hang out with them, don't ever talk to them again, give them a cold shoulder. That's high school. Give them a cold shoulder so they'll never do it again. That, in other words, I can't handle it. It made me weird inside and I can't handle that. So I'm going to manipulate the outside and determine the whole flow of my life so that it doesn't happen. Why don't you ask, why does it happen? That is the spiritual question. Why do noises, sounds from outside? I'll tell you one way to play with it. I always teach this. I've taught this before. All right? Make believe that the person said exactly what they said to you, but they said it in Mandarin Chinese. And some of you do, but most of us don't speak Mandarin Chinese. Or you just hear the sound. You're not going to get upset. What does that mean? It means the sound did not get you upset. What got you upset? I got me upset. The new book, that's my favorite. Oprah said it was her favorite line too when I talked to her. The moment in front of you is not bothering you. You are bothering yourself about the moment in front of you. If you heard it in Chinese, it didn't bother you. If they said it inside their head and really mean, but you didn't hear it, it didn't bother you. If they said it far enough away, when they were walking away, you couldn't quite hear it, it didn't bother you. But when you heard it, you decided to bother yourself about it. I can't believe he said that to me. Did he say that? Did I understand that properly? Probably I did. You decided to bother yourself about it. Can we talk at this level? This is a spiritual discussion. Not how do I interact and get it so they don't talk to me like this. Well, maybe if I wore something different or had a nicer smell, cologne or perfume or thing. My hair, it was certainly my hair. If my hair was nice enough, then they would never talk to me like that. It's better to come in here and ask, what am I doing inside myself that's bothering myself about everything? There, now we went a whole other step. Is that true? Do you bother yourself about things? Do you bother yourself about things that didn't even happen because they might happen? Come on, stay with me. Has anybody ever bothered themselves about things that might happen? It seems to me then you're bothering yourself. You can't tell me the thing bothered you. It didn't even happen. Has anyone bothered themselves? This is a quiz. This is it's a spiritual quiz, all right? Has anyone ever bothered themselves about something that happened 10 years ago and isn't happening anymore, hasn't happened for 10 years? Well, then I think that falls in the category of you're bothering yourself. How many things really do you bother yourself about? Do you bother yourself about how the car in front of you is driving sometimes? A little slow? Or didn't use the blinker? Yes or no? Okay? Come on, let's be honest. I'm begging you to dare to talk at this level. Do you bother yourself about the weather? Oh my God, it's going to rain tomorrow. They said 60% chance. 60%, that's a lot. I don't know. I wanted to go camping. I wanted to go do something. Do you or do you not do this? That's why you're bothered. How can you not be bothered? Don't tell me the world is bothering you. You're bothering yourself way more. Yes, there are situations that can unfold in the world that are terrible, and they challenge the physiology of yourself. Okay, they're dangerous and so on. And these things are supposed to bother you. They bother you. That's a fraction. That is a tiny, tiny fraction of what you bother yourself about, isn't it? Okay, good. Now we're talking. So I'm going to say for a moment, and what everyone wants to say, but how can I be okay if this is happening in Ukraine? Or how can I be okay if this is happening here or there? Well, you can't. It's a problem. It's a problem. And we'll talk about how you deal with that sort of thing. We can do that. But it's not even close to the problem of how often you bother yourself about everything. About the weather, about the car in front of you, about what you thought somebody said. About, like I said, the big category I like is what happened years ago or even yesterday that isn't happening anymore. If it's not happening anymore, it shouldn't bother you. Why would you be bothered by something that's not happening? I understand when it happened, it was bothersome. But now it's not happening. Now it could be 20 years, 30 years. It's not happening. Why is it bothering you? You have to be willing to ask. Not, what should I do about the fact that it bothers me? I'll never talk to him again. People are that way with relatives. They won't talk to each other for years. What in the world is that? You know what I'm talking about? So you're bothering yourself about stuff that's not happening. You're bothering about stuff that's so meaningless. The car in front of you is going to turn. The weather's going to be different tomorrow. It's like, if you're going to bother yourself, you're going to be bothered. Listen to me. If you're going to bother yourself, you're going to be bothered. Well, then maybe we should learn to not bother ourselves instead of learn to manipulate everybody so they don't ever say anything or do anything that bothers us, since we're the one who's bothering us. What somebody must ask, what is road rage? What about road rage? What in the world? You're driving a car. You're going to get out of the car and beat somebody up or shoot them? Or, oh, my God, what did they do? They cut me off. Did it hit you? No. Did you get in an accident? No. Anybody hurt? Anything happen? No. They cut me off. All right. Did you use your brake? Yeah. Okay, it's over. No, it's not. Not if you're in L.A. No, not in L.A. It's not over. All right. Be very careful in L.A. So, it's like somebody gets out of their car with a gun. What are you doing? What are you doing? And so this is the real question. Instead of why don't I find somebody, why did it just change, why can't people treat me the way I want to be treated, you ask, what's wrong with me? Why am I constantly bothering myself? Because if I'm going to keep bothering myself, I'm going to be bothered. And then when you're bothered, you need to go out and do something about it, such as my friend that fought with people, or such as so-and-so had road rage. Those are extreme examples, right? But such as I won't talk to them ever again. You do that stuff, and it's a cold shoulder. Or if I do talk, it's going to have a little tinge to it, isn't it? Right? Yeah. What it says underneath is, yeah, I didn't forget what you said yesterday. I ain't never forgetting what you said yesterday. Oh, or 10 years ago. My favorite fun is go, and please don't, but go to your high school reunion, your 20th year high school reunion. and you tell me whether you bother yourself about people that you haven't seen for 20 years. So now you caught on. You've been nice. You came here. You bothered to listen to this, which I think is very nice of you. It's very healthy. And you sit there and say, I'm doing this to myself. Not everything. There are some moments or rare things where something's dangerous, something happens, okay? But that's not 99% of it. 99% of it, you're doing what I just talked to you about. You're in there bothering yourself. And then you wonder why you're bothered. Well, now you know. Now you have the answer. You're bothered because you're bothering yourself. You're not bothered because of all the other things or how people are, or how she wears her hair, or this, or she's wearing the same dress that I wore. Oh, my God, I spent so much time, and I thought it was unique. They told me it was the only one. But, of course, I bought it on the street corner in New York, right? Okay, so now we're down to, and I really hope you do, to understand you are doing this to yourself. You are doing this to yourself. You're bothering yourself. And even these big things that people do, such as Hitler, or these things that are happening around the world, somebody's bothering themselves. They decided to bother themselves about something. They cause big trouble, don't they? Well, how about we learn not to do it? Instead of judging the other people who cause the big trouble, thank God we don't have the power to do that, to wake up and realize, I am bothering myself, that's why I'm bothered. And what happens when I'm bothered? I started the conversation that way. It means I'm not okay inside. What do you do when you're not okay inside? You blame the outside all the time. Somebody's not treating me right. Somebody doesn't love me enough. This is not happening that I want. I wanted to go on this vacation. I can't. It's raining and I want to play tennis. You just push it outside. Always blame the outside for the fact that you're not okay inside. Or you be positive and figure out how to manipulate the outside to get what you want so you feel better inside. The true spiritual teachings come down to the root. Buddhists say work at the root. The root is, and then I'm going to move on. The root is I bother myself. That's what's happening in here. I'm bothering myself all the time. That's why I can't fall asleep at night. I'm bothering myself. That's why I get ulcers. I'm bothering myself. That's why everything is happening. I'm in here bothering myself. What's the answer? Learn to stop. Would you like to talk about that? You're not capable of getting everyone in the world to be the way you want them to be. You are capable of stop bothering yourself. It's like there should be this revelation. Oh boy, I can fix this. Yes, you can. You can't fix what Putin did. You can't fix what Hitler did. You can't fix what a lot of people do. It's out of your control. It's going on. But in the meantime, you can fix the fact that you're in there bothering yourself all the time. And what will happen if I stop bothering myself? You'll stop being bothered. Isn't that amazing? And because I promised I would do it, so I'll do it. What if you stop bothering yourself? If you were to stop, you would be what I call healthy, really healthy. You're going to find out that you feel wonderful when you stop bothering yourself. Doesn't it seem weird? I have to convince people that you'll feel ecstasy. You feel this, I'm telling you, look at me. You feel this constant rush of energy coming up inside of you all the time, feeding you from inside, just flowering you with love. That isn't that someone's giving you love. That's what's in there. Well, why don't I feel it? Because you were bothering yourself. If somebody's, here, watch. I love you. I love you more. No, you don't. No, you don't. I love you more than anything. No, you don't. I know you don't. No one has ever loved me. You don't really love me. You're saying that. What do you want from me? Okay, I quit. I don't love you. You're right. Do you understand? That's what it means to bother yourself. You can't win. So basically, what's inside, if you stop bothering yourself, is tremendous joy. It's tremendous love. That's what Christ said. That's what Buddha said. That's what all the great beings found out. Christ said it beautifully. Man does not live by bread alone, meaning the outside world, but by every word that leaveth the mouth of the Father. In other words, there is this energy inside of you. I don't care whether you believe in God or not. That doesn't interest me. You are a beautiful being. There's greatness inside of you, but you're keeping it down by bothering yourself. So what happens if you stop bothering yourself? You become healthy. You become whole. You become stable, clear. Now what happens? Then if something happens that you need to deal with, there are things that happen in this world that aren't just you bothering yourself. There are things that happen. You're capable of dealing with them. Why? You're not using them to dump all your stuff. Like my friend that liked to fight, okay? It's not like you have this pent-up stuff inside of you. You're all blocked and this energy's messed up and so on. Now a situation is unfold outside. Oh, I'm going to dump all this. In other words, if there's something pent up inside of you to where you're not well, that's what happens. You use it as an excuse to dump your not wellness. So the answer becomes, why don't we learn to work on ourselves? It's a very personal thing, has nothing to do with anybody else, so that we stop bothering ourselves. But I spend a lot of time convincing you that you are bothering yourself. And then what happens is all this mess happens because of that. You understand that? So basically, let's talk about how you stop bothering yourself. Let's start, the book does this. The new book goes very deep into this stuff. Let's start with one of my favorite topics, the past. Do you or do you not bother yourself about the past? Ever find yourself thinking about things that bothered you before? Well, what is the purpose of that? What good does that do? It's not happening anymore. If it's not happening, it shouldn't be bothering you. At least start that way. At least start with a commitment. Instead of saying, well, of course it bothers me. My father used to spank me. Nowadays it's child abuse. Okay. Where's Dad? He's dead. I don't understand. Why are you bothering yourself about something that's not happening and there's nothing you can do about it? It's not logical. So you have to start with admitting that I would rather not do that. Maybe I don't know how to yet. I'm not saying that just because you decide, okay, I'll let it go, that it goes away. But you have to at least start with the intent. That's the key word. Buddhists use that word. It's all about intent. If you don't have the intent, it's not going to happen. If you don't have the intent to say, that makes sense. I'm bothering myself about something that's not happening. I would like to stop that. Not I would like my father to come back so I can yell at him or do something, all right? No, I don't have to bother myself if it's not happening. Do I? I know this is tough. You have to be willing to say, I do not have to bother myself about something that's not happening. Just because you're not capable of knowing how to do it right now doesn't mean you don't set the intent. There's no reason. I don't know what it is that you're bothering yourself about, but I know you don't have to. If it's not happening now, you don't have to bother yourself. Now, if there's a rattlesnake in front of you that's all coiled up and hissing, you better bother yourself. You best bother yourself about it, okay? If a car is drunk and driving weird on the road and it cuts you off, you best deal with it. There are things you need to deal with, but you don't need to deal with things that aren't happening. I'm trying to be logical. I'm giving you permission. You do not have to bother yourself about something that's not happening. In fact, you shouldn't bother yourself about something that's not happening. Otherwise, you're just bothering yourself, and you can always do that. You can always bother yourself, can't you? All right? So you set the intent. It's so beautiful. I did this early in my life. You work with it throughout your life, little by little, whatever. It doesn't have to happen all at once. If there's one thing you're bothering yourself about, you're better off if you don't do that one thing. Anything you don't bother yourself about, you're better off. You'll be less bothered. It's not all or nothing. I had somebody once, it was back in the, I don't know, probably the late 70s or something. I was invited to some place to give a talk. I used to go and give talks. I don't do it anymore. And I don't know, I was there and I was giving a talk about something like this. Let's just say that. And there was a spiritual community that invited me there. And so basically I gave the talk, and 2 days later, it was a weekend look, 2 days later, somebody raised their hand and they said, this letting go thing, it really makes a lot of sense to stop doing that, right? So I tried it for a day and a half. It really was wonderful. But you know what? When I stopped trying it, it all came back. It's not working for me. Help. You've been doing it your whole life, but you tried a day. No, it's not going to be like that. What I want you to look at is that any one thing, just the tiniest thing, that you don't bother yourself about, that you used to, you'll be less bothered. That's how I want you to look at it. Not why didn't it all go away. So you start with understanding that it makes no sense and it's a terribly destructive thing to bother yourself when you don't need to bother yourself. So here's my line. The only reason I'm bothered is because I'm bothering myself. If we were in a real retreat, I'd make you say that over and over again till you understood. The only reason I'm bothered about this is because I'm bothering myself. Then that's out. That's a candidate for, okay, no more. We're not doing that anymore. Okay? And there are a lot of those things. You're going to find out there are so many. All the past is one of those. The fact that you're bothering yourself about something that's not happening, out. No good. Okay? All right. Now, what do I do about it? All right, we'll talk next week. I'm going to tell you something I've learned. The major part of stop bothering yourself is the intent. And you're going to find out that's not so easy. It's almost like we revel in it. Well, it's true we do, okay? Why? I'll tell you why. Something happened 10 years ago. You get a divorce. I like divorce. I like that discussion. It's a very important thing. Why? Because there was a time where you two stood at an altar and you couldn't even look at each other. Just like now, you can't look at each other at the divorce. You don't look at each other because the table, but you couldn't look at each other because there was so much love. There was so much excitement. You could just cry about how good you feel. You're just, wow, it's the most magic moment of my life. And if somebody asked you, well, 10 years from now, do you think you all will hate each other and not be able to look at each other because there's so much animosity? Never. It will never happen. It couldn't possibly happen. So why does it happen to 50% of all marriage in the United States of America? And so you look at it and you say, that hurt me. This happened. This reason they ended up getting divorced. Things didn't go so well. Now it's over. Are you willing to let it be over? You got divorced. Got divorced years ago. Are you willing to let it be over? And the answer is no. I'll be honest with you. Why? Why are you bothering yourself about it? I'm telling you, from a yogic point of view, because you stored all this negative energy that you couldn't handle. You suppressed it. You held it inside of yourself. And it does bad down there. It causes big trouble. It ruins your life. If I think about it and feel the negative stuff, it at least releases something. It's like that kid fighting. It's somehow, because I'm touching it, come on, I can't put it into words, and you know what I'm talking about, right? Because I touch it again, and I can get negative about it and think about it. All these are releases of energy. Your yogis, your yoginis, it's all about energy. You stored this energy inside of you. It was negative energy. It pollutes down there. It causes all kinds of trouble. It doesn't feel good. It can make your body sick. Your tensions, all kinds of things. So to touch it, even negative, to touch it and think, I can't believe he did that. He did it 10 years ago, once, something, and you weren't even sure he did it. You hired a private detective, and they came back, I wasn't quite sure. Are we weird? Come on. So basically, by touching it, it releases some energy. Even the negative thoughts are a release of energy. That's why we keep doing it. And we have so much stuff in there, it's just, okay, fine. So what does it mean to have the intent? The intent says, I don't want to keep doing that. I don't know how not to. I understand it feels good, it comes back up by itself and so on, but I don't want to. I would like to learn to let the guy go or the gal go. I would like to learn to let go of the getting cut off. I would like to learn to not have this inside of me so that I'm bothering myself about something for no reason. And the entire past is no reason. All right, fine. First, it's intent. And why am I stressing that? Because I'm telling you, you'll have trouble doing that. You sit there and say, no, I am not forgiving him. Not a chance in the world. I'm gonna let this hurt me every day of my life. So first, let's make believe you're deep enough, and you should be if you made it out here, that you understand what I'm talking about, that this is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's what it is, ridiculous. Don't you dare justify being bothered by your past. Look at me. It's hard, isn't it? I don't care what it is that happened. If it's not happening anymore and you're bothering yourself about it, that's not healthy, is it? You're going to be bothered. And it's going to cause all kinds of trouble in your life from then on. So you have to decide, I don't care what it was. I don't care how much it hurt. I don't care what in the world it was. Thank God it ain't happening anymore, and I'm not going to keep bothering myself about it. That's what intent means. Or are you ready to do that about everything? Now you understand why I'm stressing intent. I just feel such love and compassion. Like, why? I don't want you doing this to yourself. There's no benefit. What is the benefit of bothering yourself about something that's not happening? So I hope I'm stressing it enough to where you challenge yourself. Yes, I know it was terrible. Whatever it was, I'm sure it was terrible. We've all gone through things in our lives. But they're not happening anymore. So you should rejoice. Not feel bad. Rejoice. Oh boy, the wicked witch is dead. Just realize you don't want to bother yourself. I've done this whole conversation. I've tried to make it so clear. You don't want to bother yourself. Why? Because you're going to be bothered if you bother yourself. Nobody else is in there. You're in there doing it to yourself. Nobody can get in there. You're the only one in there. And you're in there bothering yourself. So I hope logically, with this talk, if you get something from this talk, it will be, Yeah, I probably should work with this. There, hooray. Yes, you probably should. No one else is going to. I'll meet somebody. They'll sweep me off my feet. Then I won't bother myself. Just wait. Don't you kid yourself. If you did not work this through inside yourself, nobody is taking that away from you if you're not ready to let it go yourself. So, first is intent. I have the intent. Here's how you deal with your past. It's mine. Nobody else ever had it. Nobody ever had your past. Wow. You like being unique? You're unique. You got a private showing of events unfolding in front of you throughout your life, didn't you? And no one else ever had those. No one else ever will. Wow. You are to love your past. Kiss it. Hug it. Tell it you love it to death. You're my past. This is the one I got to have. I came down to the planet Earth so that 7.5 billion other people, that's just who we are now. A lot more came before, okay? I came down to the planet Earth for a few years, and these are the things that happened to me. What are the things that didn't happen? 800 billion zillion didn't happen to you. They happened elsewhere, but they didn't happen to you. This is the ones that happened to me. They're special. They're mine. I got to learn from them. I got to grow from them. You know what they're called? Experiences. That's what you came down here for, to have experiences. Love your past. I want you to be able to look at your past, the ex-husband, the father, the this, the that. Thank God I got to go through these experiences. They're mine. Nobody else will ever have them. I love you. You taught me. I learned. I grew. And I'm healthy. That's what you do with your past. But people say, you don't understand what happened to me. Yeah, I do understand. And of course I feel compassion. We've all been through a lot of things. You're alive. You're here. You made it through it. Do you really want to carry that inside of you and let it ruin the rest of your life? And the answer is no. If you made it here, you're saying no. No, I want to accept it, honor it, respect it, and let it go, and appreciate that I got to grow through these different situations and so on. Most people can't do that, can they? Even that. That's why I said intent is first. Intent is more important than mantra. Intent is more important than meditation. Intent is more important than any retreat you'll ever go to. Intent is more important than anything. Why? Because if you don't have the intent, it's not going to happen. So you start with the intent. I understand. I'm bothering myself. And they understand by now, haven't you? I belabored it a little too much, didn't I? No such thing. Because you're going to walk right out here and do it again. Oh, my God, it's humid. My hair's frizzing. Oh, I can't. What, are you kidding me? You're going to do it about everything. The story I used to tell, a lot of shoes out there. You're going to walk out there. Where are my shoes? Who took my shoes? Oh, there they are. And then you let it go. What did you just do? You caused panic inside of you. This is what mindfulness means. You're conscious of the fact that you're bothering yourself. And I'm going to stop. So how do you stop? One, you have the intent. And you remember that. Okay, now, morning, evening. I want 15 minutes of your morning and 15 minutes of your evening to do what? Remember your intent. I am going to go out there into this world, and it's going to bother me. Or I'm going to think it's bothering me and my whole past. And I'm going to today get bothered just a little bit less. There are going to be a couple of things that happen that I would have bothered myself about. I'm going to catch it. When I walk out and I can't find my shoes, no, shh. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. You're in there. You have to work with yourself. So yes, you can do mantra instead of bothering yourself. Why do people do mantra? As a way of substituting something to do with your mind instead of bothering yourself. Doesn't have to be some Sanskrit thing. Ready? I can handle this. I can handle this. I can handle this. That's a wonderful mantra. I can handle this. I can imagine that. Where am I? I can handle this. I can handle. What did she say? I can handle this. I can. Who's she walking with? I can handle this. All right. Now you understand. Now you understand. There's no reason in the world you can't do better. You're not going to let it all go at once. Don't you dare think that. Don't even worry about the big stuff. Don't. In the new book I call it low-hanging fruit. The past that's not happening, the weather, your shoes, just somebody said something. There's these little things that the only reason, why, ask this, why is this bothering me? Because I decided. I decided to let it bother me, right or wrong. I did it. Well, what if you didn't decide? Then it wouldn't bother me. In other words, there's nothing to deal with. It's just something you're doing to yourself. And so you practice mindfulness. You can do mantra. You can use affirmation. You can use meditation. You can use all kinds of things. Turn a mala bead instead of saying, where's my shins? These are why the techniques are what they are. To bring you out of this habit that you have of bothering yourself. And if you will do just that, your whole life will change. People write me all the time. They said, my whole life changed because you're teaching. I don't understand. What are you talking about? I didn't teach you anything. Right? No, I used to bother myself all the time, and now I bother myself less. And what happened? I'm a little bit happier than I used to be. How much? By the amount that I don't bother myself. They're 1 to 1. It's amazing correlation. All right. Now you've sat here and you've been very good and you've listened to this. It's true, isn't it? You are bothering yourself, aren't you? How about we learn to stop? I taught you how to stop. Decide it doesn't make sense to bother myself and then go out there and try to do things that will make me not feel bothered. All right. I don't want to leave you alone because you'll go right back there. All right. Will you work on these things? Even the tiniest bit, you'll be less bothered. Jagged.